"Mom, I need you to sign these papers." That's what my son said to me on a Tuesday morning in March. He smiled when he said it. That warm, familiar smile I'd seen 1,000 times since he was a boy. "It's just a formality," he added, sliding the folder across my kitchen table. I remember the sound it made. That soft scraping noise against the wood. I signed them. Every single one. What my son didn't know, what he couldn't have possibly known, was that I knew exactly what those papers were. And I signed them anyway. You see, there's something people forget about mothers. We spend decades watching, listening, remembering. We notice the things you think we miss. We hear the conversations you think we can't follow. We understand far more than you give us credit for. My son forgot that. Cost him everything. Before I tell you what happened next, don't forget to subscribe if you love true stories like this, and tell me in the comments, what would you have done if this happened to you? Let me take you back. Back to when I still believed my son was the man I raised him to be. My name is Eleanor. I'm 73 years old. I raised my son Marcus, alone after my husband died when Marcus was 12. Heart attack. Sudden. One day we were a family. The next day I was a widow with a mortgage and a child to feed. I worked 2 jobs for 16 years. I cleaned offices at night and did bookkeeping during the day. I drove a car with 200,000 miles on it because I was saving for Marcus's college fund. I wore the same winter coat for 10 years. But Marcus went to college. He graduated with a business degree. He got married to a woman named Vanessa. They had 2 children, my grandchildren Sophie and Jake. I thought I'd done it. I thought I'd given him the life his father would have wanted him to have. For years everything seemed perfect. Marcus had a good job. Middle management at a consulting firm. Vanessa was a nurse. They bought a house in a nice neighborhood. The kids went to good schools. And me. I retired at 67. I'd saved carefully, lived modestly. I had my small house paid off. I had my pension and my Social Security. I had enough. I didn't need much. I just wanted to be close to my grandchildren. To see them grow up. To be part of their lives. Marcus visited every Sunday for dinner. Sometimes Vanessa came. Sometimes just Marcus. We'd sit in my kitchen and talk. Or at least I thought we were talking. The first time I noticed something was off was about 3 years ago. Marcus started asking me questions. Casual questions. About my finances. "Mom, do you have a will? Mom, have you thought about what happens to the house if something happens to you? Mom, do you have everything organized? Your accounts, your paperwork." First I thought it was sweet. My son caring about my future. Making sure I was prepared. Then he started bringing it up every visit. "You know, Mom, you should really consolidate your accounts. It'll be easier for you to manage. Mom, you should add me to your bank account. Just in case of emergencies. What if something happens and you need help? Mom, we should talk to a financial advisor. Someone who can help you plan." I said yes to the financial advisor. Why wouldn't I? He was my son. He wanted to help. The advisor was a friend of Marcus's. Nice young man named Derek. Sharp suit. Warm handshake. We sat in his office. Me, Marcus, and Derek, and went over my finances. I had about $340,000 saved. Not a fortune, but enough for me to live comfortably for the rest of my life. Derek suggested moving some of it into better investments. Higher returns, he said. Safer long-term planning. Marcus nodded along enthusiastically. I remember Derek sliding papers across his desk. Just like Marcus would later slide papers across my kitchen table. I signed them. And that's when it started. Over the next 6 months, Marcus became more involved in my finances. He helped me set up online banking. He simplified my accounts. He suggested I give him power of attorney, just in case. Mom, what if you fall? What if you have a medical emergency? Someone needs to be able to access your accounts and make decisions. Made sense. So I signed. But here's what I noticed. My son stopped looking me in the eye. When we'd have dinner, he'd check his phone more often. He'd leave early. He'd seem distracted. Vanessa stopped coming to Sunday dinners altogether. And when I'd ask about the kids, about Sophie's soccer games or Jake's school project, Marcus would give me short answers and change the subject. Then came the financial emergencies. Mom, I hate to ask, but Vanessa's car broke down. The transmission. It's going to be $4,000 to fix. We're a little short this month. Could you help us out? Course I could. He was my son. 2 months later. Mom, Sophie needs braces. Insurance doesn't cover it all. We're looking at $6,000. I know it's a lot, but I wrote the check. 3 months after that. Mom, we had some unexpected medical bills. Jake had to go to the ER. We're waiting on insurance, but we need to pay up front. Could you loan us $8,000? We'll pay you back. I wrote that check too. I never saw a penny of it again. And somewhere deep inside I started to suspect that I never would. It was my neighbor Dorothy who first opened my eyes. Dorothy and I had been friends for 30 years. She lived 2 houses down. We'd have coffee together every Wednesday morning. One Wednesday she asked me a question that changed everything. Eleanor, I saw Marcus's new car last week. That's a beautiful Mercedes. Business must be going well. I didn't know Marcus had a new car. And that vacation they took to Hawaii. Dorothy continued. How wonderful. You must be so proud. I didn't know they'd gone to Hawaii. I went home that day and did something I'd never done before. I looked at Marcus's Facebook page. There they were. Hundreds of photos. The Mercedes. The Hawaii trip. A renovated kitchen. Designer handbags. Expensive restaurants. And in my bank account, $340,000 had become $190,000. I sat at my kitchen table for a long time that day. I didn't cry. I didn't call Marcus. I just sat there thinking. The next Sunday Marcus came for dinner like always. He kissed my cheek. He complimented my pot roast. He told me about his week. He didn't mention the Mercedes. He didn't mention Hawaii. He didn't mention that he'd withdrawn $35,000 from one of our joint accounts the week before. And I didn't mention that I knew. I just smiled. And I started planning. Here's what people don't understand about being old. They think we're slow, confused, easy to manipulate. They forget that we've lived entire lifetimes. We've survived things they can't imagine. We've learned patience they haven't earned yet. My son thought I was a foolish old woman who didn't understand money. He was wrong. I spent the next 6 months documenting everything. Every withdrawal. Every transfer. Every forged signature on accounts I didn't remember opening. I contacted Derek, the financial advisor, and asked for copies of all our paperwork. He sent them cheerfully. Hired a lawyer. Not a big firm. Just a quiet, thorough woman named Patricia who specialized in elder financial abuse. Patricia looked at my documents for 2 hours. Then she looked at me and said, Eleanor, your son has stolen over $200,000 from you. And I can prove it. But I didn't want to move yet. I wanted to be sure. So I did something that still makes me a little ashamed. I set a trap. I told Marcus I was thinking about selling my house. The property value has gone up so much, I said over Sunday dinner. I could sell it for $450,000. Can you imagine? I'd be able to help you and Vanessa even more. I watched his face when I said it. I watched his eyes light up. I watched him lean forward. Mom, that's a great idea, he said. But you'd need somewhere to live. Have you thought about that? Oh, I thought maybe I could move in with you and Vanessa, I said. Just temporarily while I figure things out. It would be nice to be closer to the grandkids. His face changed. Just for a second. But I saw it. Mom, I don't know if that would work, he said carefully. Our house isn't really set up for that. And Vanessa? Well, you know how she is about her space. He nodded, smiled, and inside my heart broke one final time. That's when I knew for certain. My son didn't love me. He loved my money. And once it was gone, I would be nothing to him. So I decided to take everything back. The papers Marcus brought me that Tuesday in March were the final step in his plan. They would transfer the title of my house into his name. He'd convinced me it was for estate planning purposes. This way, when you pass away, the house automatically goes to me, he'd explained. No probate, no legal fees. It's just easier for everyone. He'd used those exact words. Easier for everyone. I signed the papers. All of them. And then I waited. 3 days later, Marcus stopped by unexpectedly. He seemed excited. Energetic. Mom, I have great news, he said. Vanessa and I have been talking. We think it's time to help you transition into a senior living community. Somewhere with staff and activities. You'd love it. When? Asked. Well, we were thinking pretty soon, he said. Maybe next month. We've already started looking at places. There's a really nice facility about 40 minutes from here. 40 minutes. Far enough that I wouldn't be a burden. Close enough that he could pretend to visit. What about my house? Asked. Oh, don't worry about that, Marcus said, waving his hand. I'll take care of everything. You don't need to stress about it. That's when I told him. Calm, controlled tone, this is the power moment. Marcus, I said. I know what you've been doing. He froze. Mom, what are you talking about? I know about the money, I said. All of it. The $200,000 you've stolen from me over the last 3 years. The joint accounts you opened without properly explaining them. The power of attorney you've been abusing. The forged signatures. His face went white. Mom, I can explain. I don't want your explanations, I said. I know about Derek. I know he's been helping you. I know about the fake emergencies. I know you never needed money for Vanessa's car or Sophie's braces or Jake's medical bills. I know about the Mercedes. I know about Hawaii. I know about all of it. Marcus stood there, frozen. And those papers you brought me last week. Continued. The ones I signed. They weren't real. I had Patricia, my lawyer, prepare fake documents. Identical to the ones Derek prepared. Same fonts. Same letterhead. Same everything. You have nothing, Marcus. But I have everything I need to send you to prison. Marcus didn't go to prison. Patricia said we had an airtight case. Elder financial abuse. Fraud. Forgery. He could have faced 10 years. But I didn't press charges. Not because I forgave him. But because I wanted him to live with what he'd done. Instead, Patricia helped me recover everything. Every stolen dollar. Marcus had to liquidate investments, sell the Mercedes, take out loans. Took him 9 months, but he paid it all back. Plus interest. Plus legal fees. I also filed a restraining order. Marcus cannot come within 500 feet of me or my home. He cannot contact me by phone, email, or mail. He cannot access any of my financial information. I haven't seen my grandchildren in 2 years. That's the part that hurts the most. Sophie and Jake. I wonder if they ask about me. I wonder if Marcus tells them lies about why Grandma doesn't visit anymore. Vanessa called me once, about 6 months after everything happened. She cried. She said she didn't know. She said Marcus had told her I was helping them willingly. Maybe that's true. Maybe it's not. I'll never know. Dorothy still comes over for coffee every Wednesday. Patricia checks in on me every month. I've joined a support group for victims of elder financial abuse. There are more of us than you'd think. My son learned something he should have known all along. A mother never forgets. She doesn't forget the sacrifices she made. She doesn't forget the love she gave. And she doesn't forget the betrayal. I raised Marcus to be honest, to be kind, to be grateful. Failed somewhere. Or maybe I succeeded too well, and he learned to use my love against me. I'm 73 years old now. I live alone in my small house. I have my pension and my Social Security and my $340,000, back where it belongs. Have Dorothy. Have Patricia. I have my Wednesday coffee and my quiet life. And I have my memories. All of them. The good ones. The painful ones. And the ones that taught me who my son really was. Marcus took my money. But I took something from him he can never get back. His mother's trust. And that, I think, is worth more than any amount of money could ever be. If this story moved you, like and subscribe for more stories about truth, betrayal, and redemption. Share your thoughts in the comments below. What would you have done in my situation? Thank you for listening. And remember, mothers never forget.